This is Troy TrojanVision One-on-One. Today's featured guest, Executive Director of Troy's National Alumni Association, Faith Ward. Now, here's your host, Aaron Taylor.
Welcome to TrojanVision One-on-One. I'm your host, Aaron Taylor. You get some insight in the Troy University community, and my guest on this episode is Faith Ward, Director of Alumni Affairs here at Troy University. And Faith, thanks for joining me for this episode.
Thank you for having me.
And we're going to be talking a little bit about the Alumni Association and the many aspects of the Alumni Association, both locally and now globally, that we'll get into a little bit later in the show. But first off, just kind of for the folks that aren't aware of what the Alumni Association is and what it does, tell us a little bit about it.
Well, the goal for the Alumni Association is to provide scholarships for deserving students, and also to provide programs and events that the alums can enjoy.
And so the opportunities there twofold: one, giving back, but also a lot of opportunities to just get involved and get people back to campus and experience what's going on around here. How important is it, the second aspect of that is getting folks back here,
right?
You know, because maybe there's some people who haven't been here for decades. How important is it to get those people back here on campus?
Well, it's extremely important. And, you know, with football season about to kick off, you'll see a lot more interest in the Alumni Association because people join to get their alumni cards so that they can come to the tailgates for free. They can go to the bookstore and get a 20% off discount, you know, while they're here on campus for the weekend or that kind of thing. And then once they come back and they see all the changes that have occurred since they've last been here, they want to get involved. What can I do to help? Hey, I didn't really know all these different things were going on. I want to be involved in the, journalism system, what they're doing down in Hall School of Journalism. You know, just the different things that they can readily see when they come on campus.
And I guess that's kind of the hook in that regard is once you can get them here, for that visit and see the changes, especially somebody who hasn't been here maybe since they graduated. How crucial is it for them to just to walk on campus and see what's going on? Well,
I mean, and most of them are just awestruck. Even if they haven't been here within the last year, you know how many things that we're building and adding on to, and just the look of the campus itself is exciting. People want to be part of something that is doing well, and so we get them here, we get them involved, we get them giving back to the university, whether it's through their resources or their time or their talents, and then they're out there talking about Troy all over in other countries even.
And now you're talking about the giving back and mentioning more than just monetary giving back there, and talk a little about the opportunities that they have, people other than money. You talk about getting scholarship, but you said other than time, effort. What are some of those ways that folks can give back that they may not have thought of before?
Well, one of the biggest ways is starting an alumni chapter or becoming involved in an alumni chapter. Those people out in the trenches, if you will, are doing things that we can't possibly do as faculty and staff because we can't be everywhere all the time. So they're helping advertise for Troy by car tag that they're putting on their car in a local area, or by raising money for scholarships for those local students. Say from Montgomery, they're sending students here, and that local chapter is helping provide scholarships for those folks.
And something I guess I never thought of is that these chapters that are all over are basically little representative cells of the university out there. And so that's something I never thought of before, but I guess it's a big component of the Alumni Association having those out there.
Absolutely. I mean, just think now we have 60 chapters, 3 international, and then 57 domestic chapters. So we've got, it's almost like having employees out in those areas, but they're volunteers, and they do it because they love Troy, because they want to be involved, they want to give back.
We'll talk about the chapters, some of the individual chapters later, but let's talk about how individuals can get involved with the Alumni Association outside of being a part of a chapter, but becoming a part of the National Alumni Association.
Right.
How can somebody out there that's viewing this now and they're like, you've sold me, I want to be a part of this, I
Right.
want to get involved. How can someone do that?
Well, of course, they can always call us or come by the alumni office if they're nearby, or if they're in the area, on business or whatever. They can go online and join, and we have information that we can send to them if they want to start a chapter. Maybe they don't want to join national as much as maybe get involved in a local level. But if they are in a chapter, they're also part of the national.
And now, talk about options for someone who gets involved for membership, because I know there's an annual dues paying member, but then you also have another option where they can get the lump sum and become a lifetime member.
Right,
so
right.
talk about the differences between those options
Well,
for the folks
annual
out there.
dues are $25 a year. A lot of people choose to do that because every year we send them a notice, a renewal notice, and then they just sign up again, get another new card, and they're ready for all the events that come with that card. But a lifetime member is, I think what it really does is it shows your pride in your university. You get a great looking pin that says, I'm a lifetime member, and you don't even have to worry about a card. You just wear that on your lapel every time you're going to an event, and they're just going to wave you right on into that event. You don't have to stand there in line, show your cards and that kind of thing. That's a really nice benefit of, kind of getting in the event sooner, or and also getting in there for free. But you make a one-time commitment of $500 or $750 if you and your spouse wish to join, and then really you're paid up for life. You're never bugged again about membership.
But you're in the system, you're a part of the Alumni Association,
Right,
but there are two options there for the convenience of individuals who don't want to keep up with an annual dues. They can take advantage of that
And they
lifetime.
do have a card, and what we are currently pursuing, and this is the first time we've said this publicly, we're going to have new cards for lifetime members. It'll be very much like a credit card. So you'll indeed be a card-carrying member of the lifetime membership. And so we're getting those prepared now, and they'll go out in a letter just thanking the lifetime members for what they do for us, and also giving them other ways to get involved, since now they've paid their dues. There may be other things they want to be involved in.
Let's talk about some of the benefits of being a member. You talk about being a card-carrying member of the Alumni Association, but there's some benefits that you mentioned briefly there. But talk about some of the things outside of helping out the school and the outreach and just being part of it. There are some financial benefits, some other benefits as well to being a member.
Well, I mentioned that you get into the tailgates for free. Those are football, baseball, and basketball games, and they're home and away. So anytime the Alumni Association sets up a tailgate, it's free of charge for those. You have access to more events. You get invited to more things that just a normal alum would not be included in. Discounts at the bookstore, 20% off at Barnes & Noble anytime you shop there. You get a code, and with that code you're connected with a thing called Savings Connection, which gives you tickets like discounts on maybe movies, or could be Target would have a special that day. Some kind of retail store would have specials, and so they'll send you those updates if once you key in your code for that. So there are so many different things. Hotels, rental cars, Six Flag tickets. All those kind of things you get discounts on if you're a member of the Alumni Association.
And some additional benefits other than just helping out the university and being a part of it. Then let's talk chapters now. And there's chapters, you mentioned how many chapters? 60 chapters. And these are individual cells across the world. And we'll talk more about some of the global chapters out there. But chapters, how many? You talk about the 60 chapters out there, but talk about the different sizes. I mean, obviously they all can't be super huge, and some of them are probably pretty small. Talk about the differences between the chapters and what the offerings are out there.
You have to have 25 in order to form a chapter, and of course with that 25 we encourage more instantly, but that's how you start it. You have a core group of 25, you choose officers, and then you go from there. We give them a $250 stipend to get to kind of help them financially, and then they start paying dues, and then they use all of those dues except $5 per person to fund their scholarships and the many activities that they want to do within their own chapter. So the more members they have, of course, the better their activities are and the more things they can do. But we have a large chapter and small chapter. We break those up like that because they vie for awards each year. And this year, in August the 22nd, we'll have our awards luncheon. And so the large chapters win awards and the smaller chapter. And then we have a large chapter of the year and a small chapter of the year. And Emerald Coast has won the large chapter of the year for many consecutive years now. They are probably the biggest and the best as far as all the things that total up what a good chapter is. Now the alumni band, they have potential to have a huge chapter, and we're working with them right now to celebrate 75 years of band and 50 years of the Sound of the South. And so we're really doing a push to get all those members to join, and they would have upwards of 2,500 members if they all join.
And that would be the largest. What is the largest? Is Emerald Coast the largest?
Emerald Coast is the largest now. They have several hundred members, and they have their annual meeting coming up, and they're gearing up for all the things that they're going to do for the year. Autauga County, that's one of our smaller chapters. But Dr. Hawkins has recently agreed to speak to that group on August the 10th and give them a vision for what we want to do here at the university for the next 5 years, and also how important scholarships would be for students. And so we think by having Dr. Hawkins there and his presence and that chapter will grow and become instead of one of the smaller ones, jump into that larger category.
And I've always thought it's interesting that the Emerald Coast, talking about the Florida area, the Gulf Coast area there, is one of the bigger organizations, because one might think that somewhere locally, like a Pike County or Montgomery chapter would be a little bit more. So is that something that you're seeing? I know we've got a lot of people there, but is that something that you're seeing?
Montgomery is one of our larger ones, and Pike County is a good size. They perform in the large size, and Crenshaw County is in the smaller size, but most of that is because of just the amount of people surrounding them. It's not necessarily that they don't do a good job, because Crenshaw County does an excellent job, and they're usually in the top of the smaller chapters, but it's because of the geographically, for instance, Montgomery has about 8,000 alums to in their pool that could be part of their group. Yeah,
it's just surprising that it spreads out like that. And speaking of spreading out, we'll talk about the global options there. This just isn't domestic. The Alumni Association has spread out. As a matter of fact, one of the newest chapters this year, Vietnam.
That's correct.
And so talk about the branching out into the international market for alumni.
Well, of course, we have more and more international students, so of course we're going to have more and more international alums. And we want to stay connected with them just like, we want to stay connected with our people here in the United States. And so it's just become mandatory that we have chapters in their areas that they can be involved with. The chapter, the Vietnam chapter you mentioned, we chartered them the end of January. They already have over 100 members. They're already giving back in scholarships. They already are going into the elementary schools and doing events that kind of recruit students to become Troy students. So they're just batting 1,000 as far as what they've done in that short period of time.
And I had a unique opportunity in my travels to Vietnam, actually kind of see the birth of the concept of that Vietnam Alumni Association. I had a chance to talk with some of the founding members and how excited they were about that they could even form a group like this.
And I understand you also are Facebook friends with that chapter.
I do get an opportunity to be friends with them.
So then you see the networking aspects of having chapters here and abroad. Networking for our students to be able to reach out to their alums there. networking for our alums to network with each other.
And this is not a new concept, even though Vietnam is one of the newest. There's been an international since the 90s, is that right?
1999. It was our first international chapter, and that was in Russia. And then we also have one in China.
In China. So, three international, but hopefully moving on. As a matter of fact, one of the ones you're looking is another chapter in Vietnam, correct?
Right, in South Vietnam. And I think we'll probably put that one together almost as swiftly as we put together the Vietnam chapter that you were a part of.
Well, talk about now the goals of creating chapters, because obviously the numbers that you've mentioned there, one would think that expansion is crucial. So what is kind of the plan for expansion and getting new chapters and new parts of the organization? Well,
we had recently, until this year, had a goal of putting 2 new chapters in per year. And then, of course, we have to sometimes go back and revitalize some of our other chapters. But we've kind of challenged ourselves to put 6 chapters in this year. We've already put 3 in with the Vietnam chapter, a group called Trojan Tailgaters, and then Henry County was our newest chapter that we've recently formed, becoming our 60th chapter. We are now talking with a group of golfers to maybe have a golf chapter, a group of our lawyers to have a lawyer chapter. Delville, a group in Delville, Alabama, they're interested in a chapter. We just got a phone call from a judge in Conecuh County that wants to start a chapter there. So there's a lot of potential.
And we mentioned some geographical earlier, talking about the Emerald Coast and Montgomery and Autauga, but in that list you gave there was no geographical connection to the group. Does that mean that alumni chapters out there don't have to be, I guess, bound by geographical? They could be just a common interest?
Common interest.
Common interest. So, and what type, are there some examples you can give us other than ones you gave us there of just like common interest ones?
Like journalism, alumni band, the Delta Chi alumni chapter, and they live everywhere. They're everywhere, just like the journalism folks, and so no, there just has to be a reason that they want to be together. And the golfers, for instance, we're about to open the new golf facility, and a lot of those have worked together behind the scenes, helping raise money and just different things to make that happen. Have that golf course and that golf facility. So they've become close just by, working together on a project. So they said, why not form a chapter? They'd like to have that chapter chartered the day that we cut the ribbon for the new facility. And then what they want to do after that is say, okay, this is our home. This is our golf facility, for the ones that came before and the ones that are here now and the ones that are going to come later. And they want to start their tailgates there, and they want everyone to know if you are a former golfer, when you come home to Troy, that this is your home away from home. So they think that chapter will help them do that.
Well, speaking of home away from home, I want to get into some of the events that happen annually and some of the big events. And obviously, one of the biggest events every year for the Alumni Association is homecoming.
Right.
And how important of an event, obviously, if you're from the South and football, that homecoming is a part of culture around here. But for the Alumni Association and the university, how important is it to get that event going and have a good event every year for it?
Well, we mentioned earlier about showcasing the university, and so it gives us a huge opportunity because if they can, all alums are going to come back for homecoming. They know they're going to see their friends, their former classmates, their sorority sisters, fraternity brothers, some of their faculty that they loved. They know they're going to have that opportunity to meet and greet a lot of people that have meant something to them, while they were students here. So we try to put our best foot forward and have a lot of activities for them and try to showcase everything that we know is new and that maybe they haven't seen before. So, and it's just really important that we do our very best and have a lot of entertainment for them.
Good, fun activities there. Now, talk about some of the other big events that the Alumni Association holds throughout the year? Because most people think it's just homecoming, but I know there's a lot of other activities and even some activities surrounding homecoming that they may not be aware of out there.
Well, we mentioned just during football season this year, and we mentioned the Sound of the South and their celebration that they're having with the 75 years of band. That weekend will be November the 14th, and we're helping them with that reunion. The alumni band will no longer perform at homecoming. They will always now be performing at the last game, and they'll always have their reunion at the last game of the year. So that'll be a little bit different this year as far as homecoming is concerned, but it will also give us more time on the field to honor Alumni of the Year and give out different awards that we may not have had time for when the alumni band was performing. And then, of course, we do the military appreciation game, and we have a game where we bring all the bands, high school bands, back, and then activities like Alumni Leadership Conference. We have that twice a year, once in February and then again in August. We bring all of our leaders that lead the different organizations and our chapters and those kind of things. We bring them back, and it's like a mini conference to give them tools to grow their chapters or grow their we have an alumni leadership council now, and it just gives them tools to help them with their activities in those different groups.
And now, talk about whether or not someone, if they're a member of the National Alumni Association, in a member of a local chapter, can they be both? Can you do that, or how's that usually work out with the individuals out there? If somebody say, for instance, I want to be a part of the Pike County chapter, can you be a member of both organizations?
Well, you can certainly pay your dues to both, but if you're a member, say you pay your dues to Pike County chapter, Pike County in turn gives $5 per member back to the Alumni Association. That allows us to make them a national member with all the same benefits, and then also they get their magazine 3 times a year and those kind of things. And so, yes, you can you're part of both if you're a local. Now, the other way around, it doesn't work that way, because if you join the national and don't become part of a local at that time, and then decide you want to become a local, you still have to pay your local dues, because it's not fair to that local chapter for you to be in there for free,
But it might be something that if someone's interested in helping out that local chapter, from my point of view, is there may be someone out there that maybe they live in Montgomery and they joined the National Alumni Association, but now they're thinking, well, if I can help out some local kids with scholarships, it's okay for me to also join this local chapter? They can do both,
or we can make we can say that they've already paid their $5 toward that particular member, and then they can, take their whole $25 and give toward the Montgomery chapter.
So opportunities. So it expands our opportunities to help out, Trojans, all over.
But that's why it's so important to come. Like when you come to homecoming and you see these groups tailgating. I didn't even realize. I live in Birmingham, and I didn't realize we had a chapter there. But now look, I see them tailgating, and I want to be part of that group. And so. Those kind of, it's just important that they see those things happening.
And that is something that could potentially happen, is that you live in a city as big as Birmingham and don't know that some of your fellow alums are meeting, ever so often right down the road from you, and you come to homecoming, and that opens opportunities and once again, networking opportunities out there.
And also some people, they know that there are chapters in those areas, but they're not really sure how to reach out, to be involved. But if they come to Troy and they see them actually doing something fun, tailgating, they don't mind going over and walking over and saying, hey, I'd like to be part of this group.
And of course,
it's not as intimidating as going to a, maybe an annual meeting where there's a sit-down dinner.
A little formal meeting or something like that. But also, your office can help with kind of connecting those people as well.
Absolutely.
If they contact your office and they're in an area, you can let them know if there's someone in the surrounding area, or if there may be other individuals that want to start a chapter in that area.
Absolutely can, because like I mentioned earlier, we have to have 25 or more. Well, Joe Doe may not know that Jane Smith also wants to start a chapter in that area, and then I can connect those two, and then it just helps it, blossom.
It helps blossom and kind of expand, and obviously expand the role of Troy University outside the borders of Pike County. So, which is obviously an opportunity that you were looking forward to, is getting more chapters out there and getting more people involved. But also something that students out there, and before we go, talk about the Student Alumni Association.
Right.
There's a chance for students to get involved.
Absolutely. We just started that just a few years ago, and it has really, really grown. They are real excited. They worked Impact this summer and got people to sign up information cards. So they're going to have an event as soon as school starts to get those people actually signed up into the Student Alumni Association group, and they've just done really good things. They've got a lot of different initiatives going, and we just signed an agreement to endow a scholarship for the student alumni, the people that are members of that. We think that will help them grow their membership by knowing that scholarships could be available to them through that group.
And it starts them on the path of giving back. Even while they're a student, they know the opportunities and the options that are available to them.
Absolutely, and they get to hang out at the Alumni House. That's where they have all their meetings. They too have the same privileges that any other dues payer would have with their card. They get to come to tailgates and all those kind of things. So they already know what it's about when they graduate. They know how to get involved.
And it's an easy transition.
Absolutely.
So, and once they hear the speech from Chancellor Hawkins on graduation day offering up their year membership in the Alumni Association, 1 year free, they already have a little bit of knowledge about what all that entails.
Absolutely.
And so, well, if anyone out there is watching this program, once again, and they want to get involved or have a question, how can they get in contact with you and your office?
Well, the easiest way is to go to our website. Okay. It's got all of our information on there, how to contact us at the alumni office. I have a new membership coordinator. His name is Tanner Hicks. They can reach out to him. They can talk to me. Anyone on our staff.
And we can see, we're taking a look at that alumni page right there and get a chance to see some of the information that's available out there for them. As we scroll down, a lot of the questions they may have could be answered on this page, but you said the links on this page, they can find out information.
There's also just a button that they can press if they want to join right there, and we'll get their money, we'll send them their card. But the website's the easiest way because it has all the information.
It has the information. They can get the information on there, get it to you, and be a part of all of the exciting activities that the Alumni Association has to offer.
A lot of people like to just join online these days because it's easier. They don't forget about it. They don't have this little thing they have to remember to stick in the mail and fill out. So we try to make it as easy as possible. And
if they came back for a football game, there could be a little bit of chaos going on, so that
just a
little too busy to get involved and get over there and fill out paperwork. Probably the last thing on their minds is filling out paperwork on a game day.
But also on that website, there is a list of all of our chapters everywhere, and the president of that group. And it's got information. A lot of our chapters have their own website, so they could go and view that. A lot of them have their own Facebook pages. So there's a lot of different ways to get involved.
A lot of different ways to get involved, and the website, a good point of entry there. But if they are visiting in town, the Alumni House, they can stop by.
We talked earlier about home away from home. I want everyone to feel like that Alumni House is theirs. It is theirs. It belongs to them.
Located on Highland, right across from the back of the scoreboard.
That's
you see the giant Trojan Territory scoreboard there. Look to your right.
Can't miss us.
And there's the Alumni House. Well, Faith, thanks for joining me on this episode of TrojanVision One-on-One. And maybe we've got some folks interested in getting involved and being a part of the Alumni Association. And if they do, you're the one to contact.
It's been my pleasure, and I want to hear from them.
And thank you for joining us on this episode of TrojanVision One-on-One. My guest has been Faith Ward. I've been your host, Aaron Taylor. Hope you join us again for our next episode.